Hello everyone, my name is Michelle with At Easel Art. Welcome into my studio. So today I'm going to be taking you step by step in painting Birch Bliss. But before we get started, I just wanted to take a moment to go through the colors and the materials that we'll be using. Before I do that, I will just say that whatever you have in your art supply, you can make work for you. So if you didn't get a kit and you're just following along, just use the tools that you're comfortable with and the colors that you have. So what I'm going to be painting on is a 12 by 16 canvas. The colors today are going to be a light blue or turquoise down to a dark blue. Then we have white, black, medium brown, a bright orange, yellow, and I would go ahead and have just a couple of little spots of bright white for highlights. And then the brushes, I'm just going to use a large flat brush to get the background in. I will go to a medium or small round to get our birch trunks. And then I will use a small round detail brush to get in these thinner branches. And then I will be going back to my small round brush or my medium round brush to get the leaves here. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my large brush for the background. And I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna start lighter up here and then we'll be working our way down into the darker blue. And you can do whatever brush strokes that you want. I'm going with a slightly more turquoise value on this one just because I thought that would be fun. But you could use the lighter blue too if you like that better. And I'm just going crisscross. I always tell everyone to go ahead and paint their sides. That way when you're finished, and it will look finished when you hang it on the wall. So I'm just kind of going side to side. And we just want to quickly fill in the background. So acrylic paint does dry pretty quickly. And so the faster that you get your background on, the better that you can blend it together. I've just added a little bit of white onto my brush to mix in with this. And then as we go down, I'm just going to move towards my blue, my darker blue. So this is just blue mixed with white. I'm blending the two together, bringing it up into each other like that. And as we get closer to the bottom, I am going to get darker. If you feel that you want to go ahead and mute the volume on the video and just watch, some people prefer that. Also, please don't be afraid to hit that pause button if I'm painting a little too fast. And that way you can kind of go at your own pace. I'm just trying to go quickly because I know that I can blend really much easier if the paint is still a little bit moist, and this does dry quickly, so. You can go ahead and lift it. Also, you know, it's very important to be comfortable when you paint. Some people prefer to paint flat on a table. When I started painting, that's how I did. I just had my canvas laid out on the table and I painted flat. Then I started using an easel and would stand or sit in front of it. And then I started teaching classes, so I had to kind of learn how to paint sideways or to the side of it. But I am getting better at that. At first it was a little bit awkward. Just making sure I get it all covered. I want to make sure that my sides are done on both sides. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead. It's very important that you rinse your paint out of your brushes so that the paint doesn't harden on the bristles. So I'm just giving it a little bit of a brush in my water cup. I'm gonna scrape the sides, dab it on my cloth, and then I'm gonna take a dry brush and I'm going to go ahead and start at the top, and I'm going in like circular pattern here, and this is just giving me a little bit of a fun pattern and a blend for my background. You can do this. You could go side to side for a blend like that if you wanted to, but I'm gonna go ahead and I really like the movement that the little bit of circular motion gives this painting. So I'm just going around. going in circles, blending the colors together this way up into the lighter values, bringing that blue up. Until you are happy with it. So once you get here, you can take a little bit of a break, or you could blow dry it on the, just not the heat. You don't want to use heat when you blow dry, so I would just blow dry it on the just air setting, because heat will change the way your paint dries with acrylic paint. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this to the blow dryer, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, now that my background is dry, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to my small round brush. But again, any brush that you have that gives you good control will work. And you can put as many birch tree trunks as you want on your painting. On the example, I have one kind of coming off to the side and then two bigger ones. But I mean, you can do whatever you want with this. That's the fun of it. And even my painting is not going to look exactly identical to this one. I mean, that's art for you. It's just fun. Really make it your own. So like with most trees, this one is going to be wider at the bottom. And then as it comes up, it's going to be getting a little bit thinner. But not a lot, because this is kind of like a close-up painting of the birch tree trunks. So I'm just kind of getting the base on. I'm going to finish it on the top so that it looks finished when I hang it up. I'm going to go ahead and get my other tree. It's going to be a little bit leaning, I think. Just a little different shape to it. But have fun with this part. Like, take time to make it your own creation. If everybody's art looked the same, it wouldn't be very boring. So I'm just going ahead and getting this one in. Finishing it on the top. And then we have like this interesting, fun little one that's just peeking around the corner like this. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I get the white part of this trunk painted on this side of the canvas. And up on the top a little bit. Just the trees right around the, on the drive home today, I just noticed they were starting to turn colors. We're not even into September yet when I'm recording this video, so it seems a little bit early for the changes of colors, but I am excited for it. Fall is my most favorite season. I just love it, how things cool down, everything is just beautiful. And then we get to do lots of fun activities with the kids. Love it, love it. All right, I'm just getting, going over my first tree again, just to make sure that I've got good coverage. You might have to do 1 or 2 coats on these. And if they're not quite dry yet, you could go ahead and work in where some of your branches are gonna be. So now, this is not a time to stress out. I'm just gonna switch out of my small round to my detail round, and that's just the smallest brush that I have with me right now. And it's time to kind of decide where some of these branches are gonna come out. So I'm really gonna be random about this. We just know that we need branches kind of crisscrossing. There's no right way to do this. And you can decide kind of later which branches are in front of each other and which ones are behind each other. I'm just getting the main offshoots first, and then I'll decide some of that other stuff later. This gives your first coat of your trunks a little bit of time to dry as well. Like I said, I'm going to need to give those a little second coat. And you can just take some smaller. Now some of these branches will be going in front of your big trunks. too. So like this one is gonna come across and in front of that one. Can't really see it now because it's like white on white, but when we start adding the browns and the other details to these brushes, that's when you're gonna be able to see which branches are going in front of or behind each other. That one I kind of want to be a little bit thicker here. It's gonna go way over there. Maybe like in this, we have one that's coming way down close to the bottom somewhere, just from another tree somewhere. It doesn't have to make sense, that's for sure. The lighter pressure that you use, the thinner your branches will be. So if you're going for like really teeny ones, you'll just want to lighten your pressure. So just like, you know, barely press, and it'll keep your offshoots a little bit thinner. I always think it's a good idea to take a step back and look at it and see if you feel that you have enough. I'm just going to do that too. I'm just stepping back a little bit to see if I feel like there's enough branch action. And it seems like there is enough going on, maybe just a little bit right here. We're just going to fill this painting with beautiful fall leaves. And this is just the framework for that. We're still just on the background right now. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and rinse this, and I'm gonna get my small round back out and give my trees another coat of white. Because one coat is not quite enough. I'm not worried about where the branches are overlapping at all because it's too soon to worry about that. We'll be able to bring that to life here in a little bit in our next step. This is a great stopping point if you're ready for a break, or you can rinse your brush, take it back to the blow dryer and come back. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse off and take a little break, and then when I come back, we'll be ready to start putting on some of our branchy bits. All right, so now we're ready to add in our branchy bits. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my small round brush, which is this one here, and I'm gonna go ahead and start off with dipping in my black, but you can really do this, just enjoy this process. It's somewhat intuitive because you gotta kind of decide as you're painting how you wanna layer it, but I usually start with black. I try to make irregular shapes. I'm gonna do just my big trunks first, and then I'll do the branches. But I'm just I don't want these to start looking the same. So some will need to be kind of thin, thick, blotchy. So there's no one right way to do this part. So I'm gonna go ahead and just add in, and even you could go like directional, you can have some coming down a little bit. What you don't wanna do is have all of them kind of looking the same. So if that's starting to happen, like your marks are really uniform, it just won't look natural. And so that's why I'm saying just make them a little bit different. I'm gonna put some thinner lines in with my smaller brush after I do some of my bigger splotches. Okay, so here we are. We've got our trunks done. Now we're going to turn our focus to our leaves. So I will be using my small round brush, not my detail, my small. And what I would recommend is starting with mixing a little bit of your dark or your bright chrome orange, whatever orange value you have, the brighter that you have, the better. And also white, because this will make kind of a light orange, but the white will make it opaque because orange by itself is a little bit transparent and see-through. So we're gonna start with just kind of like this white, so it looks like a very pale orange leaf, but you get better coverage. And then we're gonna go over those with the bright orange after they dry. So I'm just gonna I'm pressing and lifting. That's all I'm doing, and I'm not thinking too hard about it. I just know that I want little clumps of these throughout the painting. So it's just going to be another one of those intuitive choices that you make. And you might want some that are a little bit smaller. So maybe I'll do some little ones up here so that they're not all the same size. We've got this branch that's right here. They don't have to connect to anything at this point. We just want bunches of leaves, little bits of leaves. We're just gonna layer it up. So I'm starting with this kind of pale orange. Again, it's the orange mixed with the white. I know I want to have maybe some down here. This way. Allow yourself to have fun with this part, not to stress out too much about where things are. We will want some kind of in this corner down here. Some could even be falling from the tree. So, and then again, take a step back, see that you have kind of what you like. You can always add more. It's hard to take away if you've gotten too many on there, so I'm taking a step back to look and see. I think that feels pretty good. I'm gonna do the same thing with the yellow. I'm gonna make sure my yellow has some white for the first layers, just to give it better coverage, and then we'll go in and we'll brighten them up. So you can really see behind the yellow, you can see that turquoise wanting to turn it green, even though it's dry. It's just because there's some transparency in the yellow, so adding white to it will help with that. And we just want those in that same neighborhood as the orange ones. A little here, a little there. And again, take a step back, check it out, see if you kind of like the placement and the sizes of those. I think that's great. You'll want to allow this to dry and then come up on top of it with the brighter oranges and the brighter yellow. I'm going to go ahead and rinse out my brush and then take a break and come back, or go ahead and give it a blow dry. Alright, so now for our final step, we'll be adding the bright colors of our leaves. We've got the muted colors, they're dry. That was just so that the opacity would get coverage. And now I'm going to go into my orange with no white on it. And I'm going to brighten up those leaves just in the same way. It's just a press and a lift. It doesn't have to cover the whole thing. Press and lift. And just get those in kind of where you have the pale orange. I'm gonna go just pretty quickly with this. This really brightens it up. And we are like so close to being done. I hope everybody has been having a great time. I'm definitely ready for the fall season. We're going to be doing this painting at a brewery in Salem, Oregon, and we've made it into a kit. So that is exciting. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and rinse my brush, give it a little pat dry, and I'm going right into my deep yellow now. I'm just going to go over where I had the yellow. I'm using a nice, thick amount of paint here. I'm just going to give my brush a little rinse. And finally, the very, very last step, besides signing your painting, which is always the last step, I'm just going to add some bright white highlights to some of these. I'm not going to mix it, I'm just going to kind of set it on the leaves in some spots. I'm not going to do every one, just a few here and there. I think this really helps some of the yellow ones if they are not getting great coverage. And again, I would suggest stepping back just to take a look at it, make sure. Got a little bit of blue on my brush there, so I'm just giving it a little rinse. And I'm going to go ahead and take my step back and see if I like it. I think it looks great. Just anywhere that you want a little highlight, I think right there, maybe there. And I would call that done. I got a little drip here, I see. I gotta watch that. And I think that looks like a fantastic painting. The final step is to go ahead and sign it. Now you can either sign it with a brush. Right here I have a metallic brush marker that's in gold. I think that's kind of fun, so I'm just going to pick a little spot here at the bottom and give it a signature. And with that, we are done. I just want to thank you so much for painting with me. I had a great time, and happy fall, everybody.